Hey guys, welcome. It is me. It is I, Dan Harrison, here to have our first Unity Forum on a new day on Thursday, and this is going to be a special edition in honor of the fathers of NuPath. Um, I'm having the background a song that I'm playing because it reminds me of my own father. And I thought I just would start by taking a couple of minutes to honor him. I remember as a kid him singing. He had a beautiful tenor voice, singing the song "White Cliffs of Dover," which was a song that was popularized by Vera Lynn in 1942, and it became an anthem for the British people as they first were the primary resistance to the German occupation of Europe. And Dover, he would explain to me how Dover was a small town on the southernmost shore of England. It was the kind of figurative border with the rest of Europe. And they were these beautiful cliffs that were made of a silicate that chalk-like or white chalk substance. And it became kind of a rallying cry for the people of England at the time. And I could just remember him singing that song and talking about his experiences as a young boy. And I just wanted to say Happy Father's Day, Dad. I still miss him every day, and he was a great presence and a great force. Our fathers are very important, and we miss them when we don't have them. And we're going to talk with some of the NuPath fathers. But before we do that, I came across a couple of projects that I had been working on. Not that I've been working on, but this is a map that my dad and I made together. It says on the back, I don't know if you can see it, but it says Daddy and Danny, July 1979. And I can remember my dad, who was a great carpenter, helped me use a jigsaw to create this. And I was really thought I might have a career in carpentry. And I made a map of Sierra Leone. So we were missionaries in Africa. And Sierra Leone is the country that is about right there. And this is the country of Sierra Leone. And this is September of 1979. And the country itself, Sierra Leone, is Portuguese for Lion Mountain. So that's why he thought this like cheesy like lion would be like a cool adornment on it. But I've kept them all these years because it's something that I did with my dad, that I felt that he was spending time with me, that he was coaching me, that he was teaching me, and it meant so much to me. I remember as a kid just that he cared enough to invest that kind of time in me. And I often will talk about the mothers that are out there, and our mothers are tend to be very involved, and I kind of make the joke that I've got more mothers' cell phone numbers in my phone than anybody else, and that's probably true. But our dads are important in their own way, and so we wanted to use this Unity Forum in advance of Father's Day to remember our fathers. Thank you for letting me share my own memories of my dad who passed away in 2017. All right, well, who are the fathers we're going to talk to today? You're probably wondering. Well, the first one I'm going to bring on board is Mr. Cecil Eskie. And Steve has worked for the organization. He's going into his 15th year. I know he's there because I saw him as we were getting ready to go live on this. Steve has two kids, Ben, age 22, and Grace, 18. And of course, many of us have gotten the chance. There he is. Hey, Steve.
Hi,
I had to look for you. You were kind of small up there at the top.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have Greg flip us back over to the full screen after everybody's had a chance to take in, your beautiful family.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
When I texted you last night at about 7:30 and said, "Would you give me a call?" You were probably worried that it was because we don't tend to text.
Broke.
Something's broken. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a guy that, has been in his own quiet way, sort of behind the scenes. People have heard me talk about how much I appreciate and value the servant leaders in our organization, and I would say that is definitely a moniker that I would apply to you, because you're somebody that is satisfied to be in the background, doing your very best to make sure that the lives of everybody that you touch are better because of your influence, and yet not feeling the need to take any credit. So this is probably
Right.
a very awkward moment for you right now to.
Yeah, but I'm here.
But you are here. You didn't even pause for a second. You just said yes, you do it, and that meant a lot to me. Um, I said to Greg before we as we were getting ready for this thing, I said, it's not that we never once have we gone through the list of the Club 50 people and said, let's choose all of the guests from the
Right.
panelists from this list. It just so happens that so many of the people that we have asked and invited to be part of this, for their influence, for the way they touch so many lives, also happen to be big contributors to the Club 50. So let me give you your props here while I've got my notes out. You
Okay.
have raised over $7,900 for this
Wow.
organization.
Cool.
Did you know it was that much?
No. I'm glad I could help out. That's
Yeah,
good.
I'm glad you could help out. It was a big help out. You have raised even 3720 this year alone, and as it stands now, you are number 4. And how that's all going to work out, we're not quite sure. But for
Yeah.
your Club 50 status, you're a 3-time Club 50 member in 2018, in 2019, and then so far this year. Did you don't strike me as having the profile of somebody that would typically be a big fundraiser. How did that work out? How did we manage to find somebody who was so skilled with fundraising?
I do a lot of work with contractors, and a lot of them work for both NuPath and also my sign business. So I reach out to them, and a lot of them are very willing to give, and I know they appreciate working with us. So they contribute, and it's just hand in hand. One hand washes the other. One would like to hope it stays that way and works like that, but it's not because of my personality, I don't think. It's just
No, it's definitely not because of your personality.
no. But a lot of the contractors, they see what we do, they appreciate what we do for the people we work with, and I think they want to be a part of that.
You have it's such an empathetic spirit when it comes to our population, to our staff. I'm not saying that you don't get frustrated, but you have always, in my mind, been the one that whatever's necessary, whatever it takes, you're there to help figure out. And sometimes, on the receiving side of some pretty ugly behavior, myself included. There was that one snowstorm that I think I
Mm.
might have dropped a couple of maybe a couple of F-bombs. Probably not that,
The
but
good stuff, though, seeing people with their true self, it's okay.
the other thing I love about you so much is that you have included your family in some important ways. We know your wife Karen, who was with us for a period of time and did a
Yep.
great job with MCCN and the work that we were doing with Seven Hills and in their as a community provider in the whole Medicaid thing, but Mass Health thing. But you also had your son, who helped you. I witnessed this with my own eyes,
Yes.
hanging those beautiful orbs that we have in our lobby for our Powered Up campaign. And
Yep.
here it is, June already, halfway through the year, and we haven't been able to enjoy
know.
your ridiculous work.
Well, just making your dream come true, You saw the orbs, a few years before all that, and we made it happen at NuPath.
And
So,
then you've got this beautiful daughter, Grace, who's just graduating high school
yeah,
in the middle of this pandemic. And what's that been like?
it's weird because they're not having a graduation till, say, June 25th or something like that. She didn't have a prom. So they're working on what they're going to do. And the new normal is, they might have, it's like 2 guests can visit in a car. So that'll be me and Karen. And then they go up and get their diploma, and they're coming in groups of 20. And it's just weird. I don't know. But yeah, they kind of got gypped. you know.
Yeah, they did.
But
Is she said about it, or is she taking it in stride?
in stride. I mean,
Yeah.
after a while, you just have to become accustomed to what it is, you know. And I think she's just glad to be out of school. Pretty much, she's done with that. So she's looking to go into Middlesex Community College, maybe
Smart.
find her, you know, see what
Yeah.
happens. One day at a time. That's the new
And
norm.
you are so you give the impression of being so easygoing and just kind of just chill. I don't know if that's how you really are on the inside, but I have a lot of respect for it. Uh,
Thanks.
yeah. Do your kids both live at home, or do they?
Yes, they do. Yep, they're
Yeah.
still living at home. Yep,
So you've been one big happy family.
sure, we'll go with that. Yeah, we all get along, but I mean, they're getting out, so we're not just like all cooped up, not as it was, you know, where everyone's confined to home. But it's getting a lot better. You know, the summer's here, people are getting out, and it's all good.
Steve, you so many people, different people in this organization. There's so many wonderful, great staff, and they all, the ones I know at least, and the ones I'm familiar working with, many of them hold a particular kind of, you know, they when I need a particular thing, somebody's face will come to mind about, this is the person I need to call for this, or this is how I'm going to get this done, or this is who I need to contact.
You know,
Would it embarrass you if I talked about what I appreciate about you the most? That's probably a bad question, because how would
no,
you say no? Everybody's going to wonder, and then it. You are somebody that when I need something done that's very particular and specific, and let's
yeah,
use the orbs that were hanging. I should have had a picture. If people out there haven't seen them hanging in our lobby, they're exquisitely hung, and they're just done just with the kind of precision that I know that when I need something that's very particular and something that's very important to be done, and you created the sign that hung up on our building for many, 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 many years,
yeah,
and refurbished it on a number of occasions. You you've done things for me that only you could do. I would go to you, and I have a nickname for you.
yes.
It, it's sort of. And do you want to tell people what it is?
It's Strad, which is short for Stradivarius, and he was what way back in the day, 1600s or something. Developed the Stradivarius. It's like a violin. So he
Yeah,
was very particular artist, I guess, in what
yeah,
you've described. Then you know the today those go for millions of dollars if ever
yeah,
anyone even finds a Stradivarius violin.
they do.
Is that
They,
kind of?
the thing about Stradivarius, Antonio Stradivarius, he was an Italian, violin and
Yeah,
cello, and he luthier, I think they called him. It's maker of stringed instruments. He didn't compose music. He didn't perform music. He was not somebody that you'd find in the limelight, but he was so particular about
mm,
how each of his instruments were created
right.
that he would not sign his name to one of his instruments until it met his high demanding expectations for himself. And I always think about Antonio Stradivarius as, his purpose in life was to create instruments that would help others make the music of their lives. And and
Yes.
and that and I think of you sometimes with that, not that you're making violins on the side, at least not that I'm aware of, but
Not
you're
yet, but you know.
somebody that's content to do so many things that are behind the scenes that without you, without your influence, would be pretty crappy. I mean, we would have a lot of there'd be all kinds of health and safety issues. Our curb appeal would plunder. Families would probably be up in arms, and having people like you that are leading from that kind of sort of that kind of humility
Yeah.
is so essential to this organization, and I, for one, have just appreciated it so much.
I
What?
appreciate your kind words, and I'm glad I can, help out and do what I do. And I'm glad it's
Well, you've been
appreciated.
with us now for 15 years,
Yeah.
and you're in your 15th year. I
Yep.
know that you've got a very successful sign business, or maybe it's not as successful as you'd like it to be. I don't know. Maybe you'd quit NuPath if the sign business went off. But I know how meticulous you are, and how focused you are in detail, and so I can only imagine that you've got many satisfied customers, with your signs all over
I do.
the.
Yep. Steady customers since what had happened is I got laid off from a sign company, Stratographics, when 9/11 happened. I was a manager there, and then got laid off. So I started my own sign business, and from there I needed some other income also. So I started a handyman business, and that's where I met NuPath, Robin Harwood, if you recall him. So I was
I
working
don't
nights
remember
and
who that
weekends
is. Oh,
doing work for you guys, and actually I got busy enough with you that I didn't have to take on other handyman customers. So it's just, one thing at a time, and turned into where we are now.
you've
I'm
seen a lot
happy.
of change. You've seen a lot of changes in this organization, haven't you? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. But it's been a fun ride.
I want to give you a minute to talk about your family and
Yeah.
your what do you do anything special on Father's Day? Do you see it? I mean, is it a time when your kids come and nestle like down at your feet and ask for your blessing?
maybe back in the day, I wished for something like that,
On
but yeah, a
Easter,
little better when they
Easter
were
was a big.
smaller.
The Easter egg hunts at Easter, you told me once, was a big
Right.
time.
That was fun. The bunny prints and all that, making
Yeah,
those out of the
yeah.
flour. Yeah, that was fun. But then they're older now, like I said, 18 and 22. So I might get a card if I'm lucky, but that's okay. They're good kids, so I feel I've done my work for them to become adults. Um, I don't think anything special will happen this Father's Day, but
So Benjamin and Grace, if you're listening to this, you better have a card for Steve
at least
because
a card. Yeah,
father, and you only get one father, and he's
and
just so
mother. Yeah,
one mother. But we're talking about fathers today,
sorry.
and your father is somebody that you will well. I mean, your relationship is everyone's relationship with their fathers are unique, but if you've got
Right.
a good one with your father, then it's something that you really will appreciate. I found that the older I got, the smarter my dad got. So
That's
it's
cool.
funny how that works, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So would you what do you think the next year is going to hold for all of us? Not just as an employee, but just as a citizen of the Commonwealth, as somebody that's just trying to be like, what are your thoughts? Are you worried? Fathers are supposed to have all the answers, aren't they?
I'm not worried. I'm hoping for the best every day. I see things getting a little better day by day. Um, we have a short attention span in the United States. Once things start phasing on a little bit, we just kind of get back to it'll be a new normal. Little by little, people are walking around without their masks. Um, I'm just hoping for good things. I hope for the best.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know much more I can add to that.
Well, that's perfect. I want to thank you so much for being part of this. I know it wasn't your chief desire in life to be in something like this. You tend to be a behind the scenes guy, as I've already said, but I want you to know, and not just you, but all the people that have support functions within our administrative department, our
Yeah,
business office. That everybody is an important contributor in one way or another, and you do so much to make sure that our properties are maintained and that people are safe and that we're presenting the very best image that we can to our communities and our families. And I hope that as you travel around over the next few weeks, that you'll get some pats on the back from staff and the various programs. I know that you're very well respected and very much loved,
thank you.
and you're a big team player. And I just want you to know how much we value you, appreciate you, and how much I appreciate you coming on and joining us today. I knew it was going to be not your favorite thing to do, but
Right.
I fully expected that you'd say yes, and it meant so much to me. So
Absolutely. Glad I could
thank
be here. I appreciate you inviting me. It's great to talk to you.
and
Good to
how
see
happy
you.
are you? And how happy are you that you happen to be the first one? Because last night I told you you'd be the last one. So now
Yeah, you did.
you got your part over with.
It's
Well, I will
okay.
say, Brad, thank you for all you do for NuPath and for all the lives you touch and the difference that you make every day. And thank you for being here, and happy Father's Day. I hope your
You're very
kids are.
welcome, and I thank you very much for the Happy Father's Day wish. And you take care of yourself. We'll see you again soon.
Will do. Will do.
Thanks for
Thanks
having
so much.
me.
See you.
Okay. See ya. Bye.
All right. Yeah, he did not. He was not super excited about doing this. But you know what? He did not even really hesitate. He said, "Yeah, I'll do it." And I knew that that was him saying that if he was called, to provide the service for people, I don't think people realize always just what kind of an impact they might make by sharing their story. And I really see people's willingness to participate as a real act of service that benefits the community that sometimes we're not even fully aware how many lives we can touch in that regard. So we are going to move on now to another father of NuPath. This is somebody who also has 4 children. So if there's oh wait, excuse me, Steve does not have 4 children, but our third guest also has 4 children. This is Greg Brandy, that is employment coordinator. I think he's going to be with Kevin Stanton, who he supports and was picking up today from work. But even with him being in the middle of his job responsibilities, he has agreed to call in. And we've got Greg Brandy. Are you there?
I'm right here.
Greg, we are looking at just a picture that's just so cute, I can't stand it. Do you know what we're looking at? You probably do, because you probably gave us the picture. It's you, and that's not the cute part. It's Liam that you're with.
That's right. That's my youngest.
That's your youngest. You are with Kevin Stanton right now. Is that right?
That's correct.
And what have
I'm
you guys
taking him.
done?
Well, he was working. He works at Stop and Shop, and at the start of the coronavirus, he was not able to go to work. Then, with the assistance from Elder, we work out a way to get him to and from work, and also support him in every way we can while he's working. He works 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And we have been providing him with transportation for the past 2 months now. So that's where we
Wow.
at.
Greg, I knew you'd been with us for a while, but I could not believe it has been 8 years. That is
I could not believe it myself.
that
Honestly,
is
when I
great.
first, it is, when I first came on to NuPath, I can remember my interview with James Shannon. At first, my intention was to only be with NuPath temporarily because of the field that I came out of. I wanted to go back into it,
Right.
which was law enforcement.
Right. You
And
were sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just going to say you were a member of the was it the police department in St. Kitts for 22 years? Did I get that right?
yes, I was there for 22 years as a police officer, but I spent most of those years in drug enforcement.
I mean, it's such a
Um,
beautiful spot. I can't imagine anybody would want to leave it, but you did.
um, After 22 years, it became a little too much. And I kept promising my wife that I will join her, but then I keep being involved in so many different cases, some murder, some drugs, um, that I had to keep delaying my time to join my wife here. And then after a while, I had to make the decision to leave something I enjoy doing.
I I bet it was a huge transition. I mean, imagine going from what sounds like it was probably a very intense job with fraught with all kinds of potential danger to yourself or to those in your life, and then I mean maybe not, but I mean when you ever say drugs and you're thinking about drug trafficking or whatever, that can get pretty ugly. To then coming here to the States, and what was your first job here?
My first job when I came here was in security, and then my mom came to the U.S. to visit me and got sick, and I had to leave that job to take care of her because there was no insurance and everything was basically on me. So basically, that's where it boils down to where I had to use all of my finances that I came to the US with after being a cop for 22 years to take care of my mom. Unfortunately, she succumbed to pancreatic cancer while she
Oh,
was here with me in the US. So my first year in my first 2 years in the US was very rough. I wanted to return home, but I kept on. Fortunate for me, I interviewed with James Sannon after, and I think I joined a great family, a new
well,
path, and I've been here since.
well, we're so happy that you chose to come with us. I have a question that's sort of, tell me if it's difficult to answer, but you've got three other children that still are in St. Kitts. Is that right? Or they've grown?
Yes, 22, 23, and 18. My 18-year son, he should be coming here. He should have been here, but due to the coronavirus,
Oh.
he's not here as yet. But he should be coming here for college.
So 18 years old. So that means that Liam is 11 years younger than your other youngest child. Is that right? Is that
Yes,
so? That was kind of a,
crazy.
yeah. I don't know if you set out saying I'm going to move to the United States. I'm
I
going to have
have
a complete career change, and I'm going to have a new child. I'm going to have another child.
crazy, right? I was. It was not planned for.
Yeah. Well,
Honestly,
I
I
didn't.
was not. I was not planning for it. But my wife. We've been together since high school,
Yeah.
and yeah.
May I? So
So
my question is, what have you done? What's the experience like of having this last child, Liam 7? How have things been different as a father for you than your first three kids? Can you see? Because I know that as we age, our it can temper, sort of our sort of big opinions about things, soften some of our rough edges. Age can do that to people. Have you seen your father, the way you're a father to your youngest, different from how you were for your older three?
yes, he get away with more.
Yeah.
He gets away with more than my other kids. He certainly did. My other three kids think that I was too strict. So Liam gets away with a lot more than my other kids. But it's at the end of the day, whether you have a rough day or a good day, it just feels good going home, knowing that you're going home to your family. So
Mhm.
so so that's what makes it very easy.
What do you expect? What will your Father's Day be like this year with your family? Will Liam and your wife do something special for you, or
Honestly, no.
no?
No, the thing about it is that I just find that we as men cannot make the same mistake. We have to be the perfect husbands or fathers when it comes to Mother's Day, but on Father's Day, it's like it's just another day.
Well, how do you like that? That's not fair.
It's not, but Father Day, you don't see a lot of flowers or
Yeah.
arrangements or anything going around. That just happened on Mother's Day. So I think just being a good father and raising your kids right and knowing that you're doing the right thing. I think that's the reward in a sense.
Right. So your wife's not going to be there to give you your slippers and to like massage your feet and you know, sort of cook you your favorite meal and none of that.
No, I do most of the cooking.
You do most of the cooking. You know what would be funny is if we didn't have time for it, but if we'd done a survey, we should have sent a survey out to our fathers and said something like, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, how does Father's Day compare with Mother's Day for you? Because that seems a little unfair, but our mothers are certainly very important. Of course, we don't want to diminish that. Would you have any advice for fathers? You know, you've been a father for a while. You've had some unusual experiences. You've taken some big, you know, risks as far as, you know, leaving your home country and coming here and all of that. What would you do you have any advice for maybe young fathers that are just starting out? What would you tell them?
I would just tell them to be there because the time, you know, it feels for me, it feels like Liam. My other kids did not have the opportunity to have me around as much as Liam does because I was not just a police officer on the island of St. Kitts. I was moving around to Antigua, Grenada, Trinidad, Belize. I was basically moving around the whole Caribbean because of what my job was.
Hmm.
And so I was away very often. So I will say to fathers, make the time very useful with your kids because they grow up so fast.
Yeah,
So you got to make the best of it.
yeah. That's some of the best advice I could ever expect to hear because, you know, the funny thing is when you're young, time doesn't seem to move quite as fast as when you get older. And it seems like the more years that you've marked on this planet, the faster they seem to just fly by. And before you know it, you said, "How did I get to be this old? What happened?" You know?
Yeah, yeah. I felt sometimes I feel like I just finished with high school, and
Yeah,
that was what 33 years ago.
it's shocking. It's shocking. Well, Greg Brandy, we are so happy that we have you in our on our team. You have contributed in so many ways and have been such a force of encouragement to not just our clients but to families and to teams of people that it takes a lot of perseverance and you know a positive mental attitude and discipline, something that you brought to the organization from your previous career, um, to make this work. And you've done that in such an important and a powerful way. And just want to thank you for all you've done for us and for being there for the people that we serve and support. And thank you for letting us kind of butt in on your end of day ritual with Kevin. Kevin, thank you. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Mr. Harrison. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. So, do you have anything nice you want to say about Greg Brandy? I don't want to put you on the spot,
Mr.
but
I gotta tell you, Mr. Brandy is so nice. I tell you, he even lets me know in advance when he's not going to be picking me up, and that's what I like about him. You know?
well, that seems like an important thing. And how has it been for you at work? Has it been weird, Kevin? Have you been like, you know, freaked out, or have you dealing with the whole pandemic okay?
I've been doing it pretty good. About I would say about 90% of the people that I work with are now wearing gloves, so that's really good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know what? Kudos to you too, because a lot of people aren't back to work yet, and you know, people that are most essential are really finding themselves there back there, and I think it speaks to your, you know, your fortitude, your desire to get back into the workforce, and your willingness to, you know, endure all the stuff you have to endure to be back there and be employed. You know, it's I don't know how anybody wears a mask for more than 15 minutes. I'm about ready to just like rip mine off my face after that length of time. But you're getting used to it, I guess, huh?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah.
getting used to it.
Yeah,
Well, so,
I preach that. I preach that to him every day. The importance of wearing the mask is basically with the training that we does every Thursday at 1:15. we emphasize to the individuals the importance of doing everything to make sure that they're safe, their family is safe, and everyone is safe. So yes, I preach that to him every day.
Good. Greg, I appreciate you doing that because you've heard me in these town halls and forums preaching that to people, that even as the weather is beautiful now and people are itching to get out there and we're moving through the phases that Massachusetts has established for reopening the economy and businesses, we are not out of the woods yet. We are far from this thing being behind us. And it's so important to me that people continue to observe the guidance that we've been receiving, wearing masks, washing their hands, making sure that they're doing whatever they can to social distance, in all circumstances. So I'm glad you're carrying that message forward as well. Well, thank you, Greg, Brandy, so much for being a part of this, for again all you've done for the organization and for your bravery in these times of COVID. We're happy we have people that are willing to go out there and get our clients back into the workplace. So much gratitude to you, and we wish you and your family good health, and happy Father's Day.
Thank you. See.
All right. Well, thanks for being part of this, and we will talk to you sometime soon. All right. See you, Kevin.
Okay. Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. We're moving on. That was, I learned stuff about Greg just now that I knew that he'd been in the police force and I knew that he was, from St. Kitts, but I didn't know, he had 4 children and I didn't know his youngest was 7 and 8 years. If you're watching this, and if you've been a faithful sort of participant and have heard the length of time that people have been employed by NuPath, the level of retention that we have, it's pretty extraordinary. And I when I'm at our monthly business meetings, pre pandemic, we sometimes would have people identify for how long they've been, and the number of people that have been with us 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20. We had James Shannon on last week, who'd been with us for 21 years or 22 years. That says something. People don't stay in jobs that they are not, they don't feel supported, that they don't have, a good foundation and to meet some of the basic demands. And so, I mean, I'm just as tickled as can be to hear that Greg's been with us for 8 years. It's a long time. All right. We're going to move on to our third and final panelist today, and that would be Brian Provenzel. He's the residential manager now for Meredith Road. I remember when Brian started, he began in Westford.
All this talk about masks.
That is a hell of a mask. I'm so glad you did that because you have, to me, you've been known to me and from early on as being this joyful spirit. It was so pronounced during the first walk that I remember, where there you are. If you can see yourself wearing a tutu and your Superman shirt. And I see that you're also pictures of your 4 kids. Again, I'm just impressed by that. So your oldest is Jimmy. So what's he holding there? Something that
I have a friend of mine who's in the military, and he did a really incredible thing for Jimmy, where he got Jimmy's information and had Jimmy's name written on the side of a fighter jet that was in combat. And that's what each one of those certificates that he's holding is. And they sent him an American flag and a signed certificate from the pilot of every fighter jet.
Wow, that is something. It's a good picture. And then it looks like your next daughter is Chloe, age 20. Is it a recent graduation or is that from a previous?
Yeah, that was her high school graduation. She's going into her junior year at college. She's studying environmental sciences at UMass right now. She's going into her 3rd year.
And then you've got Joshua, age 12.
Yep.
That looks like you're at a game someplace. I'm trying to
Patriots.
At a Patriots game. And
Yeah.
then what's this little one? 10 years old. What's her name?
Lacey.
Lacey. What kind of a
Yeah.
name? Is that a family name or is that a? I've never heard that.
Just something my wife thought up.
Lacey. Oh, she's so cute.
Yeah, she knows it too.
Let's see. Did you set out to have 4 kids? Did you always want to have a big family? And did you say I'm
No,
not going to be happy till I have 4? No.
not at all. It just happened that way, and very blessed and very thankful. And yeah, that's they're incredible, each one of them.
You've got a kind of an interesting story, if I remember correctly, how you came to us. What did you tell us what you were doing before you joined us at NuPath, which is, by the way, you're in your 8th year, if you can
Yeah.
believe that. Started in December 10th of 2012 by my reckoning. What were you doing before you joined us?
I actually owned my own business. I was doing construction,
Okay.
and I worked. Me and my partner. He was a GC, general contractor. I was working on getting my general contractor's license, and the only thing I kind of just the stress and the lifestyle was getting a little too much, and I had him buy me out because I just had a life moment, I guess, and it's a young man's game, and I was
Yeah.
getting older, and I had like a reflection time where I was just when I was most happiest in my life. And I worked for a company, another agency, back when I was 20, and I had the best. I thought it was the best job in the world. So then one afternoon playing golf with my brother, who had his best friend is friends with Mr. Lannon, was
Yeah.
talking about this agency that he works for, and that if I was interested in going to work at NuPath. And I said, well, all right. So then I called, I talked to Mr. Sannon, and here we are.
And here you are. You started in Westford, I think entry level, working with the clients there, and then you at some point got the promotion to the manager at Meredith Road, which incidentally is our sort of, I don't know if you call it our flagship autism program, but it's the first autism program that we opened. So you've got, a lot of heavy hitters. You're also the chair of the board of directors, happens to have a daughter who lives there. So you're under a lot of scrutiny, and people just love you to pieces. You know that, right?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And I love them all.
Yeah. You've really just you've dived into this whole thing with such passion, that it's just been really inspiring to observe. I mentioned to Steve Eskie a few minutes ago about how so many of the candidates, the panelists that we've asked to be part of this, you might almost think that we were trolling through our list of the high fundraisers for our walk. It's not how it happens. I guarantee you. It just so happens that often when we find somebody that we want to highlight, it also happens to be somebody that's been very successful. So give me just a moment here to tell the the people watching that you've raised over $6,600 during your history. That's
Wow.
crazy. Did you know it was that much?
That's a Honda.
That is. That's like a gently used, well, more than gently used. That's a Honda with 200,000 miles on it. But still good. You are a 5-time Club 50 member, 2015, 16, 18, and 19. And then so far, I guess Brett's calling it so far in 2020, which I guess is fair. We haven't finished the campaign yet, but as of now, you are. You only missed 1 year in 2017. Been a huge supporter of and a power user of Navigating Life, which has been so important as we've tried to really get this off the ground. And then you've done all kinds of other things. You lost a ton of weight. You started a running club. You run multiple 5K races with some of our clients, and you've just been a great a model and an example and an inspiration to so many people. You should feel pretty good. I mean, you're in a good place. I mean, you're doing some really important things, and you're very
So I am
successful.
always smiling.
You're always. Tell me what you're going to do for Father's Day. with those 4 beautiful kids?
Oh, all right. Well, first of all, I'm a little disappointed, and we'll have to have a chat with the Steve and Greg's, family. Like, what's going on? Like, Father's Day is a special day.
Well, that's what I thought. Yeah.
I get breakfast in bed,
Nice.
and then I pretty much get left alone, which is by request,
Yeah.
and it's peaceful and calming and terrific. I get to have the whole living room, the TV to myself. It's amazing.
Wow. Wow. Just leave me alone for the whole day.
Yep.
That's how you can express your ultimate love for me, your father.
Mhm.
Yeah.
My wife takes the reins for the family for the day and lets me just lounge around and be lazy. It's
And how do you
incredible.
spend your time? Are you the type that binge watches a show on Netflix, or do you just sleep?
I'm just not a really, yeah, I'm gonna probably sleep because I'm not a really big TV guy. So, except for sporting events, and now there's nothing going on. So, unless I watch like pre-recorded stuff, but maybe golf.
As we wrap up, I just really quickly, what have I assume you're weathering this whole pandemic all right? Everybody in your life is all right, you're healthy, you haven't
Hmm.
lost anybody, and
Yeah,
how do you
fortunate.
yeah, that's just great news. How do you see this impacting our organization? And it's already changed so many things, but what do you see as being our path forward? I mean, do you think that we're gonna go back to things as they once were? Do you think this is going to change some of our behavior and our rhythms forever, or what's your take on things?
I am actually not worried or afraid, especially with our agency, is I just believe that we're on top of everything. And it's a roll with the punches kind of time for everybody. And we haven't missed a beat. Like the communication, the teamwork, the changing protocols, just everything. It's just we're going with the flow. And I think we're going in the right direction. I mean, nothing will ever be the same, but it's like we always say, we're always innovative and we're moving forward,
Mhm.
and we'll overcome and adapt, and we'll be great. I think it's a good opportunity for us to grow as an agency and to be better.
Well, Brian Provincial, I want to thank you so much for being part of this today. I want to thank you for being the ever bright spirit and the bright light that you are. Back in the day when we were still like coming together for business meetings, and it always you were always a source of just I said bright light. You just seem to occupy a force, or a force occupies you, something that's a positive just influence on the people that you're around. And I know I speak on behalf of the families and the staff that you lead up there. It's such an important program. Just appreciate your crazy incredible work and all that you've done for us and over the years. So keep up the
So
good work.
Dan,
Yes.
I just wanted to interrupt you just for a second, if I may. I just wanted to end this with a quick story,
Yeah.
if you don't mind. There was something that was totally amazing that happened at my program and in my life, and for said family that you already talked about earlier, Diane Sespico and Frank
Yeah.
Sespico. Last Saturday, Diane and Frank came for a picnic with their daughter and sat outside and had a wonderful time. And they were leaving, and then they were saying their goodbyes. They got up to the car, and then their daughter, Nicole, who is nonverbal, turned, looked at her father straight in the face, and said, "Dad." That floored Frank, and that was the most amazing thing
Oh,
in
what
the
a
world.
great story.
And it's gonna sit with me for the rest of my life. That was the most incredible thing I've ever heard.
I wish somebody got that. Too bad that you did have, you weren't videotaping it like when it happened. But oh, what did
Hmm.
he do? He must have had
You got it. I don't want to pull Frank's man card because he's all
uh,
man, but
uh,
he got a little emotional.
yeah, I
And
bet he
I've
did.
had discussions with Frank in the past, and that was one of his biggest things that he said. He goes, he just wanted to hear his daughter call him dad.
Wow.
So it's
Well, that's
amazing.
a great Father's Day story and a great
Mhm.
story to end your our interview with. Thank you for sharing that, and again, thank you for all you're doing for us. Stay safe out
You
there.
too.
Enjoy your day of isolation on Father's Day. Sounds terrific. And we hope we have many more years together as we move beyond this thing and emerge on the other side, as you say, better, stronger, more nimble, and more able to weather anything that comes our way. Because if we get through this, we get through anything.
Absolutely.
All right, Brad, thank you so much, and I appreciate your time, and thanks for being of service today and talking to everybody that's out there.
Thank you.
All right, good job.
Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. All right, we have had another. Wow, I very much enjoyed it. I want to get sort of wrap this up. We're pushing it up on going into almost a full hour here, and we want to kind of wrap this up. But tomorrow is a day, a special day. It's the 19th of June, and there are people that for whom this day of remembrance is just becoming something that is more known to them. They but it is the date that that is used. We talk about Juneteenth, and it's a day of remembrance that it's also referred to as Freedom Day, Jubilee Day, Liberation, Emancipation Day, and it's intended to observe the celebration of the African American history and heritage, but significantly, when some of the last slaves were emancipated in the state of Texas, after the conclusion of the Civil War, it took probably a good 2 additional years before some of the states in the deepest South were Union soldiers were able to get to and were able to ensure that people that had been enslaved in bondage were finally emancipated, that were set free. And I believe it's an actual formal holiday in Texas, and there's a bit of a push, and with all of the recent conversations about race and so much of the discussions that organizations have been having. James and I talked last Friday about how do we continue to listen, to engage, to have conversations with one another, and to grow and evolve. That there's all of us have ways that we can improve or better support the efforts to try to just purge the last remaining the racism that still exists in this country. But I just wanted to acknowledge the day tomorrow. It's not a holiday for NuPath, although I would like us all to take some time to observe that and to think about the journey that so many Black and Brown Americans have had, as they've tried to find their way in this country, and just the terrible discrimination that they've suffered and endured. And we're so much better as a country, as an organization, when we embrace diversity, and that is the kind of organization that I wish, that I seek to lead. And I believe that most people that are part of this organization feel as I do. And but I wanted to just acknowledge that is happening tomorrow. And I think I have one more slide that I can't conclude without reminding people that even as the weather is better and it's nicer, that we are now up to 119,674 dead Americans. We are pushing nearly 500,000 dead in the world, with over 2.2 million confirmed cases in the United States, and on a global level, 8.3, nearly 8.4 million people that have been confirmed with the COVID-19 virus. So I cannot say it enough or strongly enough that please follow the guidance that has been provided us as you find ways to celebrate Father's Day this weekend, as you begin to get out there a little bit more. Maybe you're going to restaurants or engaging in other kinds of community activities. I know we're all bone weary of putting on masks and wearing gloves and dealing with the fear and anxiety. But we've got to stay strong as we go into the rest of this year. We don't know what's going to happen, but until we have a vaccine, we are going to be vulnerable to this virus that is, some have said, stalking the human race until we find a solution. And wherever you are, however you're connected to this organization, whatever role you have, whether you're a family member, if you're a person that we serve, if you're a staff that's furloughed, however you're connected, you matter to us so deeply. And I was emailing a mother earlier today, and I just emphasized again that my main job here is to keep everybody healthy and safe and alive. And I know that sounds so basic and obvious, but if we can't do that, then nothing else matters. So please be safe. As my dad would say, oh, don't take chances, love. He was not a risk taker. So wear your gloves, wash your hands, social distance, and we will get through this. We got this together. All right, guys. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Do something to celebrate the season safely, and we'll be back next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye now.